Hello again, everybody. I'm going to try straight away to add some people. Hopefully this will work. Okay, what have we got? Some people on this live other than myself.
Oh, how did it work? Hold on.
God,
My yoga. Yeah. We did it!
Yeah. That was the most frustrating 11 minutes of my life.
What was
we got
going
there.
on?
And I'm so pleased to join other sober cult leaders, because I never realised when I was drinking that if I sobered up, I'd fulfil a lifelong ambition of becoming a cult leader. And that's just one of the many blessings of sobriety.
Yeah, so when we build our commune, then we'll have to, like, I don't know, we'll have to share the responsibilities or something.
Now, that is the dream, a commune.
Yeah.
Ideally on an island, so that if any drunk people are coming along, we can just set off the cannons and fire at the boat and stop them getting onto our little sober island.
Can I be there with the cannon? I kind of feel like it would get rid of a lot of pent-up stuff that I've got going on.
We'd have it on a rota basis as who gets to launch the cannon
Can I write the rotor for it to be me all the time?
No.
I'll have another job, it's fine.
Should we start the introduction again?
I suppose so. We could do the introduction right this time. So off you go, Amy, and let's do it properly.
We are going to be recording this for YouTube and probably not the other one. So, right, welcome to Midlands AF. Hello, I'm Amy, creator of Midlands Sober Society and sober cult leader.
And I'm Benji. I am Midlands Sober Society admin and all-round sober queen.
And we are
Midlands AF. Never get that right. No. I think at some point we've just got to give up or just run with it. I don't know.
No, for the only serious part.
So we are real people having real conversations that are unscripted and maybe potentially triggering for some.
This is not intended for anyone's ears under the age of 18. Please use your discretion. The sessions will be available to listen back to at a later time.
We are not affiliated with any drugs or alcohol counselling services. We are not trained professionals in this field, so please take any advice or opinions with a pinch of salt.
Midlands Sober Society is an alcohol-free community based on mutual respect, offering friendship and support to all. We have in-person meetups once a month all over the Midlands. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram, and now also YouTube, TikTok, and eventually Spotify. You will find a link to all of those and our link tree in our bio. Anyway, enough of that. On to episode number 3. Which is entitled...
So were you lighting a candle there?
I was indeed lighting a candle.
You were sparking up a cigarette for, for your podcast.
It has been stressful.
It has been a day.
There might be a magic cigarette after that. Can't drink anymore.
No. We're just going to get into the other fluffy stuff. Yeah, no, I was lighting a candle so that I could make my house smell nice. Because it always smells of dog now.
Oh, that's the thing with animals, isn't it? Yeah. I essentially live in a cat pen now. I've got 2 cats, and I think they think I'm just living in their house, invading their space. But yeah.
Which you are, obviously.
Probably, yes. Probably. They rule.
They rule all. Okay, well, welcome, Michael, from Happy Without the Hooch, which I pronounced correctly this time.
Thank you.
How are you? Welcome to
Midlands AF.
Yeah,
the Midlands.
AF.
It's the Midlands, yeah. I was in the Midlands at the weekend, and what a very fine place it is.
Where were you at the weekend?
Just outside Worcester.
So was I.
Camping, were you?
Yeah. I went
Mm.
to do Malvern Hills, which I believe
I
is was
intended to do that, but I didn't go in the rain. I'm a fair weather hiker. So I just, I had a nap instead. I drove all the way to the Midlands and I napped in a tent. It's like when I drove to the Lake District to climb Scarfell Pike, and I went all the way up there from Southend-on-Sea, where I live. It's a good 6 hours at least. And then it was a bit rainy. I got up a bit later than I intended. I walked 1 mile in the wrong direction to begin with, and I thought, sod this. And so I went to Wetherspoons and had a big breakfast. And then I went home. I went all the way to the Lake District for a Wetherspoons breakfast, but it was very scenic.
And was the breakfast at least decent? I mean, it's Wetherspoons.
It is exactly the same as the one I get half a mile from the house, to be fair.
But did you notice the different carpet?
No, they have the same carpet everywhere, I'm sure, and the same plate.
No, it's different. Well, I'm sure this is the thing. So I've got people that I work with that, like, so I work on the railway, and like train spotters obviously collect like train numbers and stuff in little books.
Oh.
They also collect Wetherspoons, and apparently, no, I think it's this. I might have misheard, but in every Wetherspoons, the carpet pattern is slightly different.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to have a look out now.
And you can only count the Wetherspoons if you've been in and bought a drink in there. You can't just go in and like take a picture of the carpet, like, it's raw.
Oh, yeah. But the thing is, a pint of Coke costs more than a pint of the cheapest beer there, which is a bit wrong. So I go and I have the unlimited tea and coffee for a couple of quid, and then I spend the entire afternoon there. Actually, I think it's £1.20, and you get unlimited tea and coffee. And I plug in my laptop. I sit there for 5 hours using their electricity and drink as many cups of tea and coffee as I can, so they make a loss. And the idea is that I'm gradually clawing back all the money profit I've given them over the years.
That's the most sensible thing I've ever heard you say. Genius.
I will get it back.
I mean, that's a lot of tea. That's a lot of tea and coffee.
It is. I've got an amazingly strong bladder. Like, I'm really impressed with it.
I was going to say
without a wee.
I don't think that's healthy, but I was going to say you'd give Chris a run for his money, because the amount of coffee he drinks. Honestly, I'm surprised he ever sleeps.
Yeah. Well, 2 days, and I was in hospital with a broken leg, and because I couldn't go to the toilet, they just gave me this little thing to pee in, and it's like, I cannot wee if I know that there's other people in the room and they're awake. So I waited. There was only one other person in the room, in the ward. This was in Italy. Lovely hospital, lovely food. But it took him 2 days to start snoring to give me the confidence to have a wee. And by that point, my bladder was so full that it hurt more than my broken leg. And I was taking morphine from a bladder pain. And then I heard him snore, and I got the tub out. It had a litre mark on it, and I filled it up, and then I had to wake up the poor guy next to me because I pressed the alarm for help because I needed another pot. So I woke him up anyway.
This has started so well. This is exactly how I felt like this was going to go. So this is, yeah.
Oh, you might have to remind me of the agenda points during the course of this, because I'm not very good at sticking to an agenda.
Things. Oh, sorry, Benji does plan these things. I don't plan these things.
Anyone who knows me, I just like a list. I love a list. I love a spreadsheet. I'm the most disorganised person in the world, though, because I don't actually read any of my lists or spreadsheets. I just write them and produce them, and then I just completely ignore them.
Yes.
Because I just get super excited. It's like the fact that I've got, oh God, probably into the, tens of thousands at this point of notepads that I've started and not actually done anything with. So I've got piles and piles of notepads with only like 2 or 3 pages with anything in them. And yeah, nothing else. because, you know, I need a new notepad because I've ruined the last one with whatever I wrote in the last one. Obviously.
The joy of stationery.
The joy of stationery.
And
Now you tell me that you have a stationery addiction as well. I have got a drawer full of notebooks. It is like an actual real thing.
Yeah, so I did this last week actually. I start a new sort of part of my role for work next week. So obviously I went out, I got new highlighters, I got new sticky labels, I've got brand new pens and a new notepad. Full well knowing that I've got 11 sat somewhere else in the house that I could easily have used, but they weren't appropriate for what I wanted because I wanted a smarter one to make me look smarter at work, obviously. So I'll have to crack the glasses out as well, so I look even smarter when it's up.
I went through a cable phase. I just wanted nice cables for my phone, and every other thing that required a cable. And then I just kept on buying more and more, because you never know when a cable's going to break, do you? So you need to have reserve cables.
Yeah.
And then I had a drawer full of cables, and they're beginning to get tangled. And so then I bought a load of Velcro cable ties. I bought 100 of those, and then organised them by type and colour.
Oh, wow.
But now I open the drawer and it's like a drawer of spaghetti again. I can't maintain it. I can set the system up, but I cannot maintain it.
No, it's just impossible to maintain. And I kind of think, because I have the same thing, I've got too many children and I have too many charging cables because of that, and they always lose them, and I end up buying another one because I can't be bothered.
Blame the kids.
I like how you said too many children.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Too many children for the number of cables.
Too many children for the number of cables. And also, I was speaking to a friend last week, and they were saying you should always work on the basis that you don't have, your kids shouldn't, there should be more children than adults. So there should be sort of like an equal adult to child ratio. And I have 3 children and there's one of me. And so therefore I took the parent to child ratio and I threw it out the window. And now I have too many. There are just too many of them.
Could give 2 of them away.
That is an option.
Sell them.
But then you can argue now, I've got a dog as well now, so that's even more. So
I don't know how much you get for a child, but think how many dogs you could buy with the money.
So
but then
is your
you know what I was thinking though? You probably wouldn't get a huge amount for a child. You could probably get, it's a bit like if you buy a house, you can sell it whole and get a certain amount of money, or you can divide it up and get lots more money for the flats. So how about organs? You could just sell them for parts. You would be loaded. Especially if they're a rare blood type. It's worth getting them valued, I think.
Oh my God. That's a conversation that I didn't expect to happen. No, I'm taking that back now.
I apologise.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I take it all back. Keep the children intact.
I was going to say, I'll run it past my ex-husband, see what his opinion is. I'm sure he'll have a couple on that. So, but shall we go back to the agenda before we start removing anyone else's body parts?
Oh, yeah. I think we need to discuss the title, which did I caught with? I don't even remember.
Yes, you did, because I sat and thought too much about shite jokes, pun intended that time. And honestly, I was there all day and I just couldn't. So yeah, it was sober community and colonics. I think my first question though is, so I have friends that are also sober, and we enjoy each other's company. I've never turned around to them and said, shall we go and get colonic? I haven't. It's never come up in conversation. How did that come up in conversation?
Well, like all the most stupid things in my life, it started as a Instagram live. I was talking to my good friend Michael Singh on Instagram, and for some reason, because we're not very good at sticking agendas, it was we mentioned colonic irrigation, and someone in the comments said I had a colonic as soon as I went sober. And then she put us in touch with the person who did it, and she invited us over for a colonic. And it's like, well, this is a good bonding opportunity. You should try new things when you're sober. And what could be more bonding than standing in a room with your friend whilst a pipe is put up his bum? And this was a first for him. He said he'd never had anything put up his bum before. So that was a first, and I got to witness it. And then watching all his guts being pumped out. So we now know each other inside out.
Mm.
And I think it's a marvellous bonding experience. And, I mean, the things that are up there. Whew, yeah. To be honest, I was expecting just a load of poo. But there's worms. I had mainly worms and grit.
Grit?
Yep. My intestines are full of worms and grit. We all have it, apparently. We all have little worms in there. And then the grit's from the... I got this wrong. It's from the gallbladder.
Okay.
We all have sediment in there. But when I posted onto Instagram originally about the video of my friend Michael Singh having it done, I put he had a gritty prostate, not gallbladder. I got my body parts completely mixed up. And apparently you're not supposed to have a gritty prostate. And I think that ruined his chances for the girls now. I mean, it's not one for the Tinder bio, is it? Good sense of humour and gritty prostate. So yeah, that was quite an experience. And I have to admit, I mean, afterwards, you spend a good 20 minutes on the toilet, and every time you think you've finished and pull your trousers up, you have to very quickly sit down again because there's a new wave. It's like Etna at the moment. And then you don't know when you're safe to actually pull your trousers up and walk out the room in case another wave suddenly comes on. But after that, I have never felt so roomy. That is the word I describe it. I felt very roomy.
You know, the stage after where you have the massive exiting ceremony. Is that like in front of people, or like do you go off into like a private kind of part of the hospital? Because the conversation we had just about you not being able to pee in a hospital ward when there's one other person on the ward.
This was a clinic, and you go to the toilet first and have a wee and evacuate your bowels if you need to. And then you go into the little room with the couch. And, I mean, usually it's just privacy, but I did actually, for the point that the pipe was going in, that bit, which is quite intimate, we did leave the room for just those few seconds. And then it's like, knock, knock on the door. Is the pipe in yet? It's actually called, what should you call it? It had a wonderful name beginning with S. I can't remember. It's not a...
Speculum. No.
Speculum.
Speculum, that's the one, yeah.
Yes, once this speculum was inserted, came in with the camera, because that's definitely the sort of thing you want to be filmed doing. No? You're not convinced yet? All those nasty parasites and bad bacteria flushed away.
It's not going to be one of our episodes, I don't think.
It's quite relaxing as well afterwards. It's like, I feel this wonderful sort of sense of calm. Afterwards, not during it. Whilst filling the gut full of water to almost bursting point, that was actually a little bit stressful, because it's filling up, and you can feel it expanding, and then to the point where I thought the water was beginning to leak outside, and which is a possibility. You could then push out the speculum and just have a shower of feces across the wall, and I did not want that. Even if it was just me on my own, I wouldn't want that. But whilst it's being filmed, definitely not. Because if that ends up on YouTube, that's never going to go away, is it? Oh, it'll be like, oh yeah, you're the feces man. For the rest of my life.
You could put that on your Tinder profile.
Oh my god, I just thought of something. Instead of happy without the hooch, you'd have been happy without the poop.
Yeah. Well, I was. I still am, actually. My rectum and colon feel rejuvenated.
Well,
that's a feeling you can't get from alcohol.
I mean, that's when you say it like that, it does sell it pretty well because, I know that we're not all into wellness and all of that stuff, but I like to feel rejuvenated. So the idea, because I would be petrified that there would just be a shower of shit, as Lush has just pointed out. I feel like I would be that 1 in a million person that would happen to, because I'd giggle or something at the wrong time and everything would just shoot out.
I thought I would. I mean, my friend Michael, he was nervous beforehand, being sort of, virginal in that department. But then he just used his yogic breathing technique all the way through it, and he's just like, he put his trust in the equipment working properly. Whereas I went in there quite confident, and as soon as the water started going in, I was a nervous wreck, because, well, I just didn't know what to expect. I wasn't expecting to feel the pressure, and it was mainly just the fear of it coming out.
I think that would be my fear.
When I finally learned to trust that it wasn't going to come out, it went better. It went. I think there's a technique to this. I think the more colonics you have, the better you get at it. It's like riding a horse, really, but probably hurts a bit more. No, it doesn't. It doesn't hurt.
So how often do they recommend that you get it done?
There's different views on it. I would actually. You've got to get it done by someone who knows what they're doing, though. I mean, don't just try it on your partner. At home, don't get like a DIY kit. Don't do that. See a professional. Because you've also got to make sure afterwards, because you get rid of all the bad bacteria, you also get rid of all the good bacteria. So afterwards, you have to take probiotic tablets. So I take 2 of those a day, and it puts all the healthy bacteria back in your gut, because you don't want to be without those.
Mm-hmm.
And people find all sorts up there. She said her favourite find was there's the label from like an apple or something. The sticky label had remained intact. She'd had a tapeworm pop out, clog up the system. That's quite impressive. I was hoping I'd find my old watch, but it must be in a drawer somewhere.
It's in the cable drawer that you can't now organise.
Yeah. There are a few cables in mine.
Oh God! Well,
okay.
I feel thoroughly educated.
Edified, yeah. I like to educate. That's what I'm all about.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I don't really have any words. I'm still trying to process everything that's just happened, I think.
Yeah, my first sober colonic. Well, it's my first colonic. I've never had a drunk colonic. That would be something you don't want to do drunk, isn't it?
Oh, no. No.
Let's talk about then in contrast, maybe it's similar, I don't know. So sober community, which is the reason that I found you in the first place, actually. Because obviously you already run your own website, and one of the things that you're passionate about is getting sober communities together.
Yeah, because it's just so much, sobriety is so much easier if you're not doing it alone.
Yeah.
And when I sobered up, I found that I was alone. I didn't really have any friends who weren't drinkers, and I just realised I was alone. And I needed to make new friends, but I didn't know where to start. I mean, how do you find the non-drinkers? I hadn't discovered Instagram back then either. So, yeah, and I found that when I actually made friends, people who wanted to meet up and not just get on it, then I wasn't alone, because I felt I was going to work every week, and I'd be stupidly excited about it being Friday, and then it'd get to Friday, and then it'd be like, oh, I don't drink, so what am I actually going to do? I'd still get excited about it, and then it'd be this anticlimax, or I'd go out to the pub and then just watch people get drunk, and then start looking after them and making sure they all got home, or they'd use me as a nominated driver, and then I'd have to be the last person to leave, and they'd all decide to go to the kebab shop. And I realised after quite a few weeks of doing this, and my first week I spent £45 on Diet Coke, I realised I wasn't actually having much fun. And I thought maybe I should do things differently, because going out and just swapping the pint of beer for a pint of Diet Coke, it's not the same experience.
Yeah.
So I had to find like hobbies and
£45.
things.
£45 a night. Okay, so were you
There's £3 a
Wetherspoons?
pint in my local.
Oh, it's down
Terrible.
south, isn't it?
And he's still getting involved in rounds.
Oh.
So I'm drinking the Coke as fast as the people are drinking the beer. But as we know, it's not a problem because I can hold my bladder for 2 days. So.
Yeah, your website was a godsend to me when I first kind of came back onto the sober scene. And obviously, if it wasn't for you, then I don't think our group would have kind of took off in the way that it did, because it was just little old me and Gary for a long time. And then you introduced me to Zach, who then redid all of our really crap artwork that I'd done on like Microsoft Paint or something. And our community has kind of just built from there. And you've even like been amazing enough to travel all the way from Southend all the way up to Nottingham to like come to one of our actual meetups, which was amazing.
Wouldn't have missed it. And then the Dovedale walk.
Yeah.
I was going to say, actually, I want to just very quickly circle back to the Cafe Sobar meet that you came to, and you did possibly one of the best renditions I've ever heard in my life. You did the one by Bjork, It's So Quiet.
So Quiet.
Yeah, it is.
But kind of Chas and Dave style.
It was utterly brilliant. And what I really love about that, because I videoed it, obviously, because that's just what I do. It was just hearing the kind of like giggling going on around us whilst we were all watching you. It's just nice to go back and rewatch it every now and then, because it does just really make me giggle still now.
That was my first ever sober karaoke.
Yeah,
That was a milestone for me. I enjoyed it. I was nervous beforehand, so I thought, no, just do it. Once you start, you'll be fine. And
Absolutely.
I enjoyed it. And because I remember that what used to be my like go-to karaoke song. But the time before that I'd sung it, it was such a mess. I remember getting up on the stage. I think it was an O'Neill's, for God's sake. And I was trying to read the screen, and then I realised I was seeing double. So I had to try and do it with one eye closed, and I couldn't keep up with the words, and I got some booze. And I was slurring quite a lot. So, yes, sober karaoke, it's a thing. Try it.
I enjoyed it.
Brilliant, it was. Absolutely genius.
Were you still there for the last singer on the karaoke?
See, I heard that I was upstage right at the end, because I left a little bit early because I had to get back to Southend, and then I heard that there was an amazing performance after I left. I'm gutted to have missed it.
It was, yeah, you missed an absolute blinder.
Fantastic. In fact, we need to do another meetup that involves sober karaoke.
Reunion. It's such a great venue as well. You're so lucky in the Midlands having probably the UK's best sober venue there in Nottingham.
I was there a couple of weeks ago, actually. I went to with not necessarily with Amy and Mark, but Amy and Mark were there as well.
I love Amy and Mark.
Aren't they just the best? Honestly, they
couple.
are.
And if you don't know Amy and Mark,
they are couple goals.
You can read their story on my website. They wrote their recovery story upon reaching a year sober together, and it's really heartwarming. And they're just the kindest, loveliest couple. And they're so fun. I look at them and I think, why did you never needed to drink? I didn't even realise they're online. Hi, guys.
They are online.
I'm thinking, you didn't need to drink because you're so much fun sober. Like, you don't need anything to enhance this. And
they are just the most.
Can't wait to see them again. Yeah,
they're the most beautiful couple. But we all ended up at this comedy night at Cafe Sobar, and the comedians were brilliant, actually. I wasn't sure what to expect, but yeah, I was in stitches the whole night, and then we kind of sat and chatted with Amy and Mark as well, and it was just a wonderful night. But they do loads of really good stuff at Cafe Sobar, actually. you know, and because it's only like 40 minutes down the road from me as well, so it's, you know, a really easy place for me to get to. Because it's really central, it's really good for everybody. So.
Maybe I have to go and do a set there for the next comedy.
Yeah.
Not very good, but
well, no,
you
just
you have to have a go at these things.
Talk about your colonic again. You know, you'd be right,
That's
you'd be fine.
not a joke. That's just my life.
Exactly.
Oh, I need to retell the story about where you actually listening to you talk nearly caused me to end up in hospital.
How was that?
So it was, I think it was the the live that you were doing with Sober Mike, and you were talking about when you went dogging with your auntie. Oh my God. I was just not expecting.
It sounds bad when you say it like
that.
that.
There's a story, like there's a build up to it. But I was in the gym at the time.
Essentially the abridged version. I took.
I've ruined it now.
I think the more accurate version was I had a new car. You wouldn't believe that to see my car now. But I had a nice new car, and I went to see my Auntie Linda and said, "Do you want to spin?" She goes, "Yes, please. Why don't we go down to Leon Sea?" And so I went down there, and then I knew that just there around the corner there's a nature reserve that is a very popular dogging site. So I cheekily turned off for Two Tree Island, the dogging site, with my aunt in the car, and there were quite a few cars there, and so just to up the ante a bit, I started flashing my headlights. By which point, poor Auntie Linda is screaming, and then she's trying to hide her head like down in the footwell so that no one sees her. And I was like forcing her back up. I said, "Get back up, Auntie Linda. I want them to see my cougar." And she wasn't very happy about this. So I started coming off the island, at which point someone who'd responded to my flashing lights was then following us. So I just drove around to the next car park and parked up again, by which point she's having some sort of apoplectic fit. And after several pleadings, I did leave. She said, "Get us off this effing island." And I did. I politely obliged, but only after I probably nearly caused her a heart attack. But how did this cause you to nearly end up in hospital, Amy?
So I was listening to that particular episode in the gym. So like listening to podcasts was my favourite thing to do. And I was just in the middle of a set of quite heavy barbell, like, can't even think what it's called now. I haven't been to the gym for 6 months. Overhead presses, and I lifted it. It was about 30 kilograms. I lifted it over my head. You said the word cougar, and I swear to God, I nearly dropped the barbell on the top of my head, and a tears streaming down my face, and I had to put it down, and I was like doubled up. People must have thought that I was dying because of all of the weightlifting, but it was because I was absolutely like, I couldn't breathe because I was laughing that much. That podcast just absolutely killed me.
I think I'm going to have to go back there, because I did once just a live. I took my friend Tristan down there, and we were trying to show that when you are sober, you have to get your kicks elsewhere. You have to get your dopamine rush elsewhere. So we went down to the dogging site for a 1 hour live. It was try dogging with Happy Without the Hooch, a 1 hour special. And again, it was just going around there, me and him, flashing lights at people, and then mainly running away, and then trying to avoid what was happening in bushes. And it was quite popular, but I put it up, and it was up for a few days, and then I had a request from a friend, Tristan, to take it down because he was standing in the local elections, and he didn't think it was going to go down too well with the Lib Dems that he was representing. So I had to try and remove all traces of dry dogging with Happy Without the Hooch. And I felt like I've got to go down there and do it again because it was such a laugh.
Yeah, I would have voted for him.
It was one of those Fridays, when I said I kept on going out and seeing if I could have fun. I realised I wasn't going to have fun at the pub, so let's go somewhere else. And that's where I goes. It was also the same phase where I decided to get a fake poo and put it outside the entrance of Lidl, then just sat in the car filming everyone coming out dodging it. Again, you've got to get your kicks from somewhere. was fine until one of the local councillors came out that I knew, Councillor Terry, who, but just by coincidence, one of the things he's responsible for is dog poo, and he did not do anything about it. I think that's just, he just dodged it. He didn't warn anyone else. I didn't see him reach for his phone to report it to the council. He just left what he thought was a real dog poo outside. But then I could continue that for a while. But then someone saw me filming and caught that I was on, so I had to speed off out of there. Like cloud of dust, I was out there. But I was quite fond of the poo, so I returned at 11 o'clock at night and trawled the car park until I found it again. And I washed it down, and then I took it to Sober Dave's Christmas party, and put it on one of the trays for catering. Because just because you stop drinking doesn't mean you have to grow up. You don't have to be. You can still be silly. I think that's one of the reasons people like drinking, is because it gives them license to be silly. Whereas you can be silly sober, and it's still fun.
Yeah.
I
So buy yourself a fake poo, go to a dogging site, do all that crazy stuff, and enjoy it like a little mischievous teenager.
see, I definitely think I'm more childish now. Now I've stopped drinking than I was when I was drinking. Haven't been to a dogging site,
Put it on the list.
so I'll add it to my list of things.
my
Look, right, I've got my
God.
pen. I'll add it to my list of places to go.
I have to warn you, I think I'm going to run out of battery in a bit. I've forgotten how much these eat up your battery.
No, I haven't even checked my battery. I was only on 50%. Oh no, I'm all right. God
Yeah.
bless my little pixel.
Yes. We're on Rose time.
John's just said October meat. No, we are not going dogging for the October meat. Absolutely not.
Yes. Well,
No,
this is your first
don't
threesome, as you said. So this is your first sober threesome, and now you're going to do an October dogging meet.
But apparently not. Well, there is a doggy site quite close to us, so you know we could consider it.
Well, I discovered there's a place where you can find them all called dogspot.com. So do a bit of research.
Oh no! Just dropped my earpod. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll pencil it in.
I feel a bit bad now because there's a very real possibility of me just cutting off any moment, and I'm not sure we made it past bullet point 1 on the list.
Well, I just wanted to give you a chance to talk about the stuff that you do, you know, with your website and your, you know, all the stuff you do in the sober community, and also like the calendar. Is he gone? Is he coming back? While we're waiting, I think he's plugging his phone in.
I think
While
you're right.
we're waiting, is there anything ridiculous that you've done while you've been sober, in particular?
Me?
Yeah.
Just my life, I think, actually would cover that. I've been in, so I don't think I've necessarily done something particularly ridiculous. I've been in situations where ridiculous stuff has happened when I've been sort of party to it. We've all heard my best / worst dating story. So yeah, ridiculous stuff has happened in my presence, but I wouldn't necessarily say, I mean, other people may say different, but I don't think I've done anything ridiculous. Anything like really wildly ridiculous anyway.
Well, I don't know if this is ridiculous or not, but John is absolutely desperate for some reason for me to tell this story. And so I'm going to probably have to tell you, although I don't think it's appropriate at all. So
There's no kids in the room. Let's go.
Okay, why not? So, as you know, we've recently had a dog. We've got a puppy for my daughter, and we decided to crate train. So we've set a camera up in the living room so we can see what she's doing, you know, when we're at work, etc. The trouble is with these cameras is they're like just on all the time, and you forget they're there. You forget they're there. So we may or may not have at one point accidentally made a sex tape. Because we totally forgot that the dog camera is running pretty much 24 hours a day. And it wasn't until afterwards I don't know if you can stop hiding in the kitchen. You hear him chuckling away. I don't know if it was me or John. The realisation hit us. I was like, the camera! The first thing that we did was like log into the camera and like watch it back. And John was like, I look alright actually. And I was like, oh my god, I look horrendous. Oh, but yeah, that was ridiculous and traumatic.
I mean, fair play to you. Did you keep it? I want to know. Did you keep it? Are you going to keep it to watch back?
Yeah, I mean, it's got internal storage, so it's still on there. But yeah, but then these things start going through your head, like, well, who else has seen it? Like, the people who made the camera, what if they're like logged into it? What if it's on the internet now for all I know?
Can you imagine the amount of stuff that they will have seen on those cameras? I mean, oh my god, yeah, no, I've definitely not done that.
Are you happy now? Are you happy now? You've been dying for me to tell that story. This is not funny.
If anyone was wondering why we don't recommend that your children listen to this would be the exact reason why.
Nothing to do with the fact that we spent probably the first half an hour talking about poop.
Oh, and, kids love that stuff.
And then also talked about dogging.
I feel like there has been quite the theme for this one. I'm gonna, Michael, do you want to join back in? I can see that you've come online again. Do you want to join back in? Because, you know, I've got one last thing that I want to ask you. Oh, hello. Please don't come on camera. If you're going to come on camera, put some more clothes on. Just so you're aware, as a child, it's not just a random naked person in my house. It's a child, which is why I don't want him to walk in. Oh, no, you're fully clothed. You're fine.
Can I put on the cord back? Otherwise I'm actually going to...
No, I'm not, no, go away. I literally said an hour. That's it. You've still got like 10 minutes.
Keep it children.
I'm not going to put you in the bath.
No, I can.
No, you can't. Go upstairs and close the door.
I know how to make a bath.
I'm fully aware that you know how to make a bath. I'm asking you not to do it without my supervision. Go upstairs. This is why I generally...
That your little does he know that we were previously talking about harvesting his organs.
I know. Maybe just this one. Maybe we could just harvest this one.
Then can we do it?
Right, literally, I'm doing something right now. Go away. I'm so sorry, everybody.
We're doing it after. We're doing it after.
Well, when we talk about the fact that we are, you know, like, just normal people with normal lives, full-time jobs, mums, millions of other projects, and all the other kind of stuff going on. I mean,
it's quite nice. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily normally have had my children join in, so I do apologise for that, everybody. But yeah, I mean, like Amy says, I mean, we do all sorts. You know, I'm a single mum of 3 children who now has a dog. I've got 2 guinea pigs. I've got a full-time job, of which I start a new part of it next week. So for the next few weeks, I am just going to be utterly foot to the floor doing a million and one things. But what I do quite like about the group is that you can just dip in and out of it at any point and just kind of rant for a bit and say, I'm having a really shit day. Yeah, the kids are gone. I'm having a really shit day. You know, pick me up, someone make me smile. And there's always there's always someone around. So yeah, but we are real people with real people lives and children and chaos and sex tapes and stuff.
Hence why things like uploading the videos to YouTube don't happen in a timely fashion. And sometimes we don't know what the next in-person meetup is going to be until literally a couple of weeks before.
Yeah, I'm really excited though because me and Chris actually got on it today. We were like, right, what are we doing for September? Let's get this planned. So, everybody who's listening, the September meet is in the organisational stage and should hopefully be announced within the next couple of days or within the next week. I feel like there's a child somewhere. I just feel, when you just feel the presence, there's got to be someone somewhere. So yeah, keep your eye out on the socials for an announcement for the September meet, which I will get organised and put that together at some point.
And you've also got a pretty good idea for the October one, if I remember rightly, without saying it too much.
Yes, yeah, I am currently in the organisation stages of the October meet as well. Me and Chris also had a couple of ideas for potential ideas all the way through to January. I think he's just really excited. I don't have all the ideas up to January. I think he's got some pretty good ideas. So, we'll all get our heads together at some point and collaborate on stuff. But yeah.
Well, I think it's safe to say that Michael, he's not going to be able to come back. I think his battery run out. But it was wicked to have him on. It was as hilarious as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I've not laughed that much in a while. I am really gutted though because I wanted to. I don't know whether you watched his stories recently about wearing a pink high vis. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
So he was talking about he got like a pink high vis for his job, and some of the people there were taking the piss out of him, telling him to like tone it down and stuff. So he actually then ordered a high vis that says Queen of the Docks on it, and it's bright pink. And I'm so desperate to see an update as to whether it's actually arrived and if he's worn it yet.
I know he will definitely watch this, and I'm sure he will let us know.
Oh, I need an update.
But what we do need to say is, if you're watching this live, or if you watch this week, our next in-person meetup is on Saturday. Date is 19th?
The 19th of August at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Let's say 19th of August, 11 o'clock. It is at Himley Hall, which is in Dudley, in the West Midlands. If you're coming along, please let us know because we need to know who to look out for. The plan was to have a picnic and then to have a nice walk from Himley to Baggeridge, let the kids play on the play area, and then we're going to walk back, maybe go by the Toposcope. Obviously, everything is weather dependent. We have no idea. It's looking better actually now than it was earlier.
Yeah, I spotted that.
Fingers crossed. So feel free to bring food along, but we might not be able to the picnic park. But whatever happens, we are not postponing again. It is going to happen. Be there at 11 o'clock, and we will be kind of hanging around the car park area. You'll be able to see us. I'll be wearing my T-shirt, or I'll definitely be wearing a piece of merchandise.
I've actually put my T-shirt in the wash today, so I will definitely be wearing a T-shirt on Saturday.
Brilliant. And we're also doing a merchandise run as well. So if you do want your own merchandise, we don't actually make any money from the merchandise. It's just sold at cost price. But we do love seeing pictures of people with their merch. So we got T-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, pin badges, stickers, tote bags, all sorts of things. And you'll see a post about that on our Instagram page.
When's the merch ready, Amy?
So I'm closing the orders for merch the last day of August. I'll put the order in that weekend, and then it usually takes him a couple of days to get everything printed. And then depending on whether you want to collect at the in-person meetup or if you want it posted, it's probably going to be like a week or two after the order's in that you receive it.
And I refuse to do any of the posting because the last time I did it was just a nightmare. I ended up trying to post someone their merch. They were on holiday, so they couldn't pick it up, but then it didn't seem to arrive, and so we're like, right, okay, we'll start again. And I think it was about a month to 6 weeks it took, and then suddenly it arrived back on my doorstep again. So I vowed never to try and post anything like that again because, that was stupid.
Yeah, and this is why I don't use Royal Mail, because I do not trust them in the slightest bit.
No.
All right, so I think we better wrap it up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I enjoyed that. I haven't giggled that much in a long time. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. I hope everyone else thoroughly enjoyed it too. Yeah. The next
Yep.
one, the next Midlands AF session will be at some point during September. If anyone's got any suggestions of what you want us to talk about, who you want us to talk to, what you want us to do, please, no
Not to
dogging
somebody.
or sex tapes or anything like that, because, you know, I'm single. I'd have to go and find someone. It's a lot of effort. I don't like Tinder. But yeah, so if you have got any suggestions for anything that we can do next, again, not colonic. But yeah, let us know. Keep in touch. Go to our Facebook page if you haven't seen it already and do stuff on there too.
Yeah, and I will download this episode. It will be available on the feed because Benji's going to remember to press leave when she ends the call.
Yes, I am.
And then I'll download it and then I will upload it to YouTube, and we'll also put the link in our Facebook group. So there's lots of different ways that you can catch up. On YouTube, you can also find episode 1, which was an introduction to me, and then episode 2, which was an introduction to Benji. And they will all be stored in there, so you can watch them at any time.
Super duper. Well,
Hopefully see
have a
you
wonderful...
on Saturday.
Yeah, see you later, guys.
Okay.
Bye.
See you later.